There's an old legendary tale that BC grew up with. Heard it 1,000 different times, 100 different ways. But it's called The Boy Who Cried Wolf. And no matter which version you may have heard, the gist of this tale is as follows. A shepherd boy who repeatedly fools villagers into thinking that a wolf is attacking his town's flock of sheep every day after school. Comes home, he wants attention, he's bored. Wolf! Wolf! Villagers come running, there's no wolf. Kid gets his attention, he's not so bored anymore. One day after school, he returns home to see a wolf about to attack his flock of sheep. He yells, "Wolf! Wolf!" The villagers do not show up. The villagers believe that it is another false alarm, and the sheep end up being eaten by that wolf on that day. The moral of the story is simple. There is no believing a liar, even when that liar is telling the truth. That's pretty much the McMahons in a nutshell for decades now. And whether you like to believe it or not, whether you like to put this man on a pedestal and protect him and act like he is a victim, that is also Paul 3H's Levesque in a nutshell. You see, Paul Levesque called in another emergency talent meeting before SmackDown went on the air last night live. And it was more of the same regurgitated BS that we've already heard in the past. Not just from Stephanie days ago, and then that all was just a pile of bullshit and lies. We found that out immediately when she resigned after saying she'll be here. Going forward, nothing's changing. Except for everything is changing. But no, I'm talking about for years we've heard this bullshit. I remember Shane McMahon, Stephanie, Paul 3H's Levesque, shoulder to the shoulder with Vince McMahon. They stood in the middle of the ring and said, "We've been hearing your complaints. We know Raw is no longer good and WWE should be and could be better. We're going to start making those changes now." And for years since, nothing's changed. Raw somehow has gotten even worse from that day they all stood in the ring and fed us those lies. We are at a point now where Paul Levesque stood in that meeting last night and he regurgitated everything Stephanie said. Vince McMahon is coming back. He is our founder. He is our leader. He's going to lead us to the promised land. He's going to put this company exactly where it should be. Man, to spew those lies knowing it's all bullshit. But there he is. Nothing's going to change. We assure you, we're all going to keep our roles. When the talent just heard the same lies just a few days ago, and then Stephanie turned around, sent everybody an email saying, "JK, I'm fucking out of here." And they're supposed to believe that Paul Levesque is going to remain in his position throughout, and everybody else is gonna, nothing else is gonna change. Everybody else is cemented where they stand. And then in the same meeting, he says, "Now, yes, things could absolutely change going forward." I love it. He can't even fucking lie properly because he knows it's such bullshit that he actually had to admit, okay, things could change going forward, but we don't anticipate much in the near future. So I will be where I'm at. Kevin will be where he's at. It's fucking laughable, yet so damn tragic. You know, one bit of truth that he dropped in last night's meeting was when he said, "Okay, yes, maybe Vince and I have conversations about creative, but at the end, he defers it to me for the final say." Read between the lines. This is not the first time that he's admitted that he has conversations about creative when everybody told BC from day one, no way. That's a breach of Vince's retirement somehow. He can't talk business, BC. And I said, that's bullshit. He literally said in the interview, it was either with Stephen A. Smith or with Ariel Helwani, when he said, of course it's my father-in-law, of course we talk shop, of course we talk creative. He told you outright. You didn't even need BC to tell you that. And now he just told the talent again. That was one of the details that was reported, is that he said, yes, Vince and I do talk creative, but at the end, he defers it to me for the final say. Guys, that's a wink-wink, right? He leaves it to me. That's like being at the dinner table with your father, a big, strong, it's my way or the highway type of a father figure. And he's at the dinner table, and he looks at you, and he says, after a long conversation, and he says, but I'll leave it up to you to make the right decision. He doesn't even got a wink. It's just a wink-wink, right? I'll leave it to you to make the right decision. And he goes back to eating his fucking tortellini pasta. What he means by that is, I'll leave it to you to do it my way. That's what he's saying. That's why you've seen the product like it is. This has been Vinnie Mac and Triple H trying to coexist as creators, but it's a little dash of H here and there, right? He's bringing back people, but it's Vince's way to book them, right? So you see Mia Yim show up, but she's got to become Munchkin. That's Vince, right? Triple H brought her back. Vince had to do the name change. Vince brings back Sarah Logan, but she's got to be Van Halen, the rock band. You can bring back Johnny Gargano. You can bring back Bronson Reed. You can bring back anybody, but they're going to be booked like I'm going to book them, right? So you're seeing little shades of Triple H, but you're seeing an overshadow of Vincent Kennedy McMahon. I've been telling you from day one, this is a coexisting kind of, can they coexist storyline? And it's clear that they cannot. That's why you've seen all this influx of talent come back that was H's, but they're not being booked right. So it's kind of like, what is H doing with all the people that he brought back? Well, that's because you have Vincent Kennedy right there with him. Now, I'm not saying H would book them properly anyway. I really think this guy just needs a long vacation, like 10 fucking years. I think Tony Khan whooped his ass so badly that H is shook. I really do. And he's such a yes man that he refuses to either believe Vince's bullshit or he's invested so much that he will never retrieve his balls from Stephanie's purse to stand up to Vincent Kennedy McMahon. And if somebody like H will not stand up to Vince McMahon, ain't nobody going to. So here we are with another meeting and regurgitated lies. It's the boy who cried wolf. And that's why I bet you once we're going to start hearing stories of a lot of talent, man, when they can finally actually speak out, they will say that when H was speaking, those 3 H's and everything was coming out of his mouth, they knew it was verbal diarrhea. They knew that they should fucking whip out a roll of toilet paper and offer it to Triple H after the fucking speech. Because it's an Academy Award winning speech. Because it's all. Kofi Kingston just talked about, how the locker room feeling. This was before this meeting, by the way. This was a day or two ago. Kofi cut this interview. Asked about, what's the general consensus. This was after the Stephanie speech or meeting. And Kofi just said, we don't know what's going on. We have no idea. We can just control what we can. We just know that we're performers to go out, just try to put on the best matches, whatever we're asked to do. And that's what we're going to do. Just stay laser focused. We don't know what's happening. We really don't. We're just as lost as everybody else. But no matter who owns the company, our job is going to remain the same. And we just don't know more than anyone else. Could you imagine how much that must suck, right? I mean, for people going, they don't care, BC. They're just going to, it's business as usual. That's not true. Could you imagine being at any job, knowing it's about to be taken over by a whole new ownership, not knowing who it is, hearing some possibilities and wondering what it means for you? For instance, if McDonald's was to be bought by Chick-fil-A, right? That's huge. The McDonald's employees know that this is big changes coming. They need to start planning now. For instance, they'll get Sundays off. Chick-fil-A is a very Christian company. They believe in the Sunday is the day of rest, and Chick-fil-A is not open on Sunday. They lose a lot of money, but they really believe in that higher power and the day of rest. I can fucking speak. the day of rest is on Sunday. They believe in that. So McDonald's would have to adapt to that same philosophy. Sunday, day off. I'm sure employees would love that. However, what does that mean for dress code or different ways to go about business, right? Is that going to be drastically different than what they're used to from McDonald's? Because this is such a Christian company. Chick-fil-A is ran just totally different than McDonald's. It's going to mean a lot of differences, man. There's some people that might not believe in certain things or don't want to adapt to any different standard, and they'll leave McDonald's. That means they have to start searching for a new job. Guys, that's at McFucking-Donald's and Chick-fil-A. Whole Foods, which is a very it was anyway, a very hipster type food market, right? It was very just organic was its origins, Whole Foods supermarket. But that got bought out by Amazon. Amazon bought this little hipster organic supermarket. And if you look at Whole Foods today, it's nothing like it used to be. Whole Foods is now just corporate America, right? They had to have known that. A lot of the employees, when they heard Amazon's taken over, well, that's against everything that Whole Foods really stood for. They were the anti-corporate. They were trying to do things the right way. Amazon comes over, and now you have fucking Amazon Prime boxes all around the supermarket. You got to whip out the Amazon Prime card to get anything. You're seeing a lot more different items that aren't so organic. You're starting to see a lot of different things, right? Well, that meant a lot of change for the employees too, I bet. So now you're at professional wrestling's WWE. You think this isn't a massive deal? That there quite possibly could be a Saudi Arabia buyout on this, and what this means for people like, oh, I don't know, Sami Zayn, a lot of the females, even if it's a company like a Comcast, an Amazon, who just wants to buy the world at this point. It's drastic difference. It means a difference in their livelihoods, man. It's not just their career or their job. This is a change in their life as well. So you got to feel bad for all of the talent, and they're not bad because human beings go through this all the time, whether it is a McDonald's, a Chick-fil-A, a Whole Foods, you know, so pro wrestlers are not going to be any different. So I guess feel bad is a poor choice of words, but you got to feel for them that they're not just in this time of flux, but they're constantly being lied to by their management. Half of that is because that's just what the McMahon/Levesque do. They just lie through their fucking teeth till literally everything turns brown because there's so much fucking shit coming out of there. Or the other 40 to 50% is that they really don't have a clue either what's going on. That's how lost they are. So they have to fucking spew that to their talent, but they have to put a twist like they do know what's going on. Everybody don't be scared. It's a time of celebration. Vince is back, and he's going to lead us to the promised land. Well, who? What's the promised land? Another fucking huge bank account or a big vault in the back of a big bank? Because, yeah, 3H's Levesque will cash in. Vinnie Mac will cash in. Steffi will cash in. Right? Everybody will cash in. But the wrestlers, what are they gaining from this, bro? Nothing. Nothing. There's no talk of benefits being given to them. There's no talk of a 401k being delivered to them. There's no talk of a fucking retirement plan being given to them. There's no talk of a fucking that U word. There's no talk of any benefits at all for them. They are just the fucking spokes on the wheel. They're the ones on fucking strings, and when Levesque or a McMahon stands in front of them and tells them what way the fucking wind is gonna blow for those strings to flow which way, then they can move. That's what they are right now. Yeah, it's a time of flux, and right now you have people at the top that are just spewing out bullshit to their own talent and employees. It's the boy that cried wolf. And I bet you we are at a time right now, if we weren't already, where the talent is starting to open up their fucking eyes and say, this is nothing but bullshit. You are lying. By next week, you could be out of creative. Because I'm already starting to think you were never truly there anyway. At least not 100%. Something is starting to tell me that Vinnie Mac was always just a phone call away. In making every fucking final decision. I love that line from the meeting yesterday. Yes, maybe Vince and I have talks creatively, but I assure you, he says I can have the final say. Yeah, it's the kid and the father at the dinner table after a long conversation. I'm sure you'll do the right thing. Repercussions majorly if you do not. If you're wondering what the right thing is, it's daddy's way, right? In this case, it's daddy-in-law's way. It's Vince's way. That's the right thing. Or you're going to make the wrong decision and you will be punished. Triple H, Paul Levesque, 3 H's. He's always been a yes man, whether you want to believe it or not. I know there's a large portion of this industry, community-wise, fan-wise, that truly puts H on a pedestal, believes he can do no wrong, acts like he's a victim, and in reality, he's been the biggest fucking yes man over Johnny Laurinaitis. People power! I just want to have my job back! Can somebody let me in? Hello? It's me, Johnny! I just want my job back! You can have all the paralegals you want back! I don't need them! I just want my job! Vince? Paul? Stephanie, let me in! It's people power! You can have fucking Brucey Pritchard. You can have Kevin Dunn. It pales in comparison. Paul 3H's Levesque has always been the biggest right-hand man ass-kissing machine yes man of Vince McMahon. The perfect person to stand in front of everybody before SmackDown last night and spew that bullshit meeting. Before we get into the SmackDown review, I want to say a big salute to one of my favorite female wrestlers of all time, Mickie James. A massive night for her last night. Title versus career. Jordynne Grace versus Mickie James. The last rodeo it was being built. James committed to this storyline where if she loses, the next time she loses, that's it. She's gone. And she had a big match last night. And many were wondering, is that going to be it? And she had a 20-minute match. That spinning DDT finishes off Jordynne, and Mickie James hoists up, I believe that is her 5th knockout championship victory, and this one was the sweetest. I saw a clip where all the family of Mickie got into the ring and celebrated with her, and I could not be more proud of her. Mickie James, salute. There's nobody more deserving, and I just cannot believe that Vinnie Mac had. I saw Sasha Banks and so many others, Ember Moon, Athena, slip through the cracks of WWE because Vince McMahon, for some reason, somehow saw no value in them. But even at her age, when she was in WWE, at her age right now, right? Let's stop acting like she's a fossil. She is still one of the best female wrestlers in the world today. And that's at her age. She might not be prime per se, but she's not that far off. And she can still today beat just about anybody. And put on amazing storylines for sure, which wrestling is way more than just the moves and the sequences. It's the story that you're going to tell. It's the believability coming out of your words and in your mannerisms alone. And when she's on paper, you just get another level of interest and an investment. And that's when I saw this match, Jordynne Grace and Mickie James. I was like, all right, well, I got to pay attention to that anyway. On paper, it's fucking immaculate. I have such respect for both ladies, and this is so big for Mickie. Well, she ended up coming out on top, man. So it's amazing that WWE let her go, but the fact that she is still kicking ass in this industry, the way she should be, the way she knows that she should be, fucking epic. Salute to Mickie James in that big title victory last night. Fucking epic. Now for SmackDown. What the fuck was it? 1/13? Yeah, it was Friday the 13th, 2023. We'll talk about, if you don't mind, I want to down the rest of this card. I don't have much left. I'm going to down this real quick. I'm going to get another one, all right? Now, this is going to take me about 20 minutes. I got to go around the block. But YouTube time, I'm going to snap my fingers, and we're just going to do a cut edit shot, all right? So it's just going to be fucking a snap of a finger. In real time, this is going to take me 20 minutes because I didn't time this right, and I'm almost done with my coffee, and I want to talk SmackDown with you. I don't care how long it's going to take. I want to talk about the show. So it's going to take 20 minutes, but in your time, YouTube time, I'm just going to snap my fingers, and 20 minutes just went by like a breeze, all right? So let's do this. Let's apparate 20 minutes. All right, there we go, man. Another snap. It's 20 minutes later. We are good, man. We got a fresh Duncan, and we are ready to talk SmackDown 113-23, Friday the 13th. Braun Strowman versus Gunther for the IC title. Now, I can't stand when we start a professional wrestling show with a wrestling match. Beasley, it's a wrestling show. You gotta have lots of wrestling. I get it. Trust me. It's a 2-hour show, man. You got plenty of time for wrestling matches. But that's the exact thing I'm saying, man. It's a wrestling show. It's a 2-hour entertainment television show, right? At least start the show with a big story that'll be told throughout the night. See what I'm saying? So you start with something big, you put the remote control down. I say this every time like a broken record. I'm going to say it a million more times on this channel. You make people put the remote down because they're invested in one main story right from the jump that you know you're going to keep going back to throughout the night, and at the end of the night you culminate the story. That's how you make people stick around for an entire show, whether it's a half an hour comedy, an hour drama, an NFL football game. You start off right, and now you got to see the ending, man. You already started off fucking hot and heavy. Unless the game is really bad in the first couple minutes, then there's no reason to stick around, right? It's already fucking lopsided or something. Well, that's the same thing with a pro wrestling show. If it's really bad from the jump, or it's just not as interesting, nobody needs to stick around for the rest of the game. In this case, the rest of the show. Start off with a hot and heavy storyline. Then you go into Q2 for the first match of the night and rock it out. You can give it 20 minutes if you want. Leak into Q3. That's fine. Instead, you know, Tony Khan does this every Wednesday, and he hasn't learned because the ratings don't fucking budge. Most of the time, they go back down or they just fluctuate. You know, just don't lead right into a match, man. Pro wrestling is more than just the wrestling. You gotta have storylines, man. And you have a lot of people that maybe don't watch every show. They got the remote in their hand, and they're begging that at the top of the show you give them a reason to stick around. Just throwing 2 wrestlers in there to wrestle, that's going to make a lot of people just change the channel. That's not a story. Braun Strowman, Gunther. Anyway, Braun was out there in Green Bay Packer boots. You know, that speaks to my fucking soul, bro. I loved it. It was in honor, I believe, of a kid from Green Bay that had maybe passed away. I didn't get the whole story, so I don't want to speak too much about it because I have to get the story again. I was in the middle of doing my notes. I had to fucking answer back a business text. It was a lot going on, but I noticed the Packer boots, and I heard that it was an emotional story and for a good cause. So I just thought that was so cool. The boots were fantastic, man. Even if you're not a Packers fan, I mean, that was pretty badass. I mean, you could picture it in your own football team's color, like if it was not 49er colors or something, or, you know, fucking the Rams. Fucking New England Patriots, the Dolphins, it doesn't matter. I mean, they were just pretty cool. The fact that it was Green Bay because they were in Green Bay, Wisconsin. So fucking cool. Braun lives not too far from Green Bay, too. So, another salute to Braun, man. Being a fucking fellow cheesehead. So he's out there in Packer boots, already getting fucking brownie points from BC. This was a 20-minute match, believe it or not. Crowd was into it. Gunther cements his title reign as a legit title reign with this win as he defeats Strowman via a powerbomb. Strowman was up on the ropes. Gunther was able to like take his arm, swing it so his like chest and head went into the top of the post, and then Gunther was able to go underneath Braun when he was on the ropes, because he was never going to be able to fucking actually powerbomb, like lift him. So he was already in like a powerbomb type of position. Picks him up and fucking drops him. And at first, Braun is so big, his feet hit first, but then he really hit hard, his upper back and head. I hope he's all right. He didn't look like he was that fucked up. I didn't see an X get thrown up, and Gunther ends up pinning Braun Strowman. I don't think Strowman loses too much from this, to be honest. It's Gunther. You're building him up. He's the champion. As I just said, this cements his title reign as a legit title reign. And what I mean by that is this was one of those victories that you can go back and say, okay, you know, I do remember that title defense, you know. It makes people remind them anyway that Gunther is even the champion, because sometimes, man, you forget who's the title holders because they're booked so improperly. Gunther was straddling that line of like just awkward booking. You know, he's booked strong some weeks and then he's just non-existent other weeks. I just felt like this was one of those moments in his title reign that he can look back on, we can look back on and say, okay, that helps the cause of saying it was a legit title reign. I hope to see more of that going forward before he loses it at WrestleMania. Strowman had one of his best performances. I truly believe that. That's why I say Strowman didn't really lose much here. Some matches, if you're a guy like Strowman, yeah, you're going to make the guy look like a fucking joke. But it's not like he just lost to Ricochet via fruit roll-up in under 2 minutes. We've seen Strowman book like that in the past many times. So this was massive, man. And he didn't lose anything, I don't feel. This was a fucking diabolical, debilitating powerbomb if you saw it. I mean, he took a hit. So Strowman had one of his best performances, 20 fucking minutes for his size. He didn't look fucking blown up at all. And he was rocking out. Honestly, you could have had these two big brutes on a pay-per-view stage. A premium live event stage now, whatever you're calling it. I still call them pay-per-views. You could have these two at a pay-per-view, and I would have been okay with it. If you have a pay-per-view with like 7-8 matches, and this is just one of them, and they put on that performance, I can't say that in my review, or the good, the bad, and the ugly, that I would put that in a bad column. That would most likely go into the good column. So, believe it or not, Strowman, Gunther absolutely did the deed. I just wish it was in Q2. Q1 should have been a big storyline. That keeps you going throughout the night. You keep going to the storyline. Like, you could have done something with Sami Zayn and Paul Heyman, maybe. If you wanted to keep the Bray Wyatt segment just to that one little segment, you know, keep a little bit of nuggets and keep people waiting and wanting even more. You don't want to do too much with the Bray all at once. You know, just get creative. But they decided to put it into Q1, leaked into Q2. At least it was it was good. I think everything was booked properly. Backstage, Paul Heyman informed Sami Zayn that the Bloodline is not in the arena tonight for his match against Kevin Owens later, per orders of the Tribal Chief. So Sami Zayn is like shook. He's like, well, wait, what? This is my big match, and nobody's here to like support me. Nobody's. And when he walked off, because he said, I want you to text or call Roman and tell him I'm going to take care of it. He's right. I don't need anybody. I'm going to do this for him. And he walks off, and Paul Heyman just has this look like he's just fed up with Sami. And that, like, you could just tell, like, the end is near for Sami and the Bloodline. Like Paul Heyman, his facial expressions, you know there's already a plot going on behind Sami's back. And a lot of people still think that Sami is going to find out beforehand, finally wake up and see that Kevin Owens was right all along before he gets fucking demolished. BC is saying that he's not going to. He really does believe that this is his La Familia, his family, his bloodline, and he's going to find out the hard way that he's going to take the biggest beating of them all from the bloodline. Paul Heyman's face is telling you that. I really wish, again, that was just from the start of the show. Then you go into Gunther and Braun. I mean, how you place the show is everything, guys. But it was still a very well done segment. And by the end of the night, this would take on another life form. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. Hour number 1 progresses on with Karrion Kross versus Rey Mysterio face-to-face, not a match. Rey was out first. He says, I'm declaring myself for the Royal Rumble. I'll talk about that in a second, by the way. Karrion Kross comes out. They start verbally, but they end physically. Kross locks in Kross jacket. Mysterio is done fucked up. So that's that. Karrion Kross looks like a beast going into the Rumble, I guess. My problem is, some people are announcing themselves for the Royal Rumble. Other people are just declaring themselves, or being put, not even declare, they have to be put into what is being called qualifying matches. Now, some fans are like, I don't see the problem. We've done this in the past, Paisley. We've had qualifying matches. Why is everybody all of a sudden not liking it? Because it's not making sense. If you have qualifying matches, that means you have to have 30 qualifying matches. That's what you're telling me. I mean, think logically, guys. 30 qualifying matches? It's impossible. And nobody would want to see 30 fucking qualifying matches in a month. So, what are they doing? Some qualifying matches just to put fucking stupid BS matches, just to put a title on it so it seems more intriguing. And then everybody else, most individuals are just going to be placed in there because they're calling it. I am in the Royal Rumble. It makes the people that have to qualify look like idiots. All they had to do was say, I'm in the Rumble. Instead, they didn't, so now they have to wrestle to get into it? Guys, if you're wondering why a lot of us have a problem with it, it's because we use common sense and logic. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. Wasn't it Gunther in hour 2? Hour 2, I believe Gunther backstage. Yes, backstage in hour 2. Gunther just declares to the ultra beautiful Kayla Braxton that he is also entering the Royal Rumble. This makes zero sense. Some people are just putting themselves in. Others have to qualify. Others have to jump through flaming hoops on a bed of nails just to get into the Rumble. Which is it, guys? Are we qualifying or are we just being placed? Oh, well, basically, he's an IC champ. He gets to just get in, basically. Okay, what about Rey Mysterio? He's a legend, basically. Okay, but on Monday, you had several people also that were just mid-card talent, no titles, not legends. They were declaring themselves. Bobby Lashley, I believe, just said, I'm going into the Rumble. Future Hall of Famer, basically. See, there's categories, basically. What? What are you saying? You're fucking cloudying the day so much. You're muddying the waters, bro. The dust will never settle if this is the decision-making that we're doing and nobody wants to fucking talk about it. And there's some fans out there that are just like, why do people have a problem with this? It makes a level of intrigue. Isn't that what you want, basically? You want intrigue. Putting a fucking stupid title that doesn't make sense over a match that nobody needs to see. That's not intrigue. I think we have the wrong definition of intrigue if you think that's what it is. I just can't fathom how this... Like, who thinks of it, A, and then who approves this shit? You know? Does H think this is a good idea and Vince approves it? Is this Vince's idea and H who says he's got the final say? Does H just approve? Obviously, it's Vince or it's H. The writers don't have final approval. They just give you some shit, right? You can't even blame Brucey Pritchard for this. You can't blame People Power Johnny Laurinaitis because he's just trying to get into the building. You can't blame fucking even Kevin Dunn. I mean, this is either McMahon or it's a Levesque. Pick your poison. One of them is approving the final show. And this doesn't make sense. Anyway, Mysterio, and I think both of them, Karrion as well, put themselves into the Rumble. Xia Li versus Teagan Nox, man. You guys know how much I love Xia Li. It is criminally insane at this point that how she's been booked and not even given a chance. So I said, okay, it sucks it's got to be Teagan, but Teagan has been less than 50-50 booked anyway. She's one of those people you don't even know why she got brought back. We love Teagan Nox, but it just doesn't look like there's meaning. So it sucks that she has to take an L here, but there's no way she's beating Xia Li, right? I mean, Xia just did the run-in a couple of weeks ago with, I think it was Damage Control, and people went, oh, finally, she's being booked better, right? They're finally gonna give her a little bit of a rocket and see where she can go. I'm not saying I needed to see her with a Damage Control, by the way, but it was good to see Xia Li getting something, a start, and they totally derailed it immediately. You never saw a follow-up. But I thought last night, like, this is the closest thing to a jobber match you're gonna get. And much love to Teagan Nox. I hate to say that, man. I like Teagan, but there's no way she's beating Xia, right? Most of us know that. Guys, I'm not even joking when I say they had Teagan Nox defeat Xia Li in 3 minutes with the Shining Wizard. Congrats to Nox. I'm not knocking Nox. Congrats to her. But what the fuck are they doing to Xia Li? They're going the same route that they went with Shayna Baszler, if you guys are noticing, man. Only a matter of time before Xia Li is losing all of her matches in less than 2 minutes via the awe-inspiring, ultra-devastating fruit roll-up. Because the fruit roll-up is going to be Xia Li's future. And less than 2-minute matches. We've already seen this with Baszler. People that are legit badass. Like I've called Xia Li several times the female version of Brock Lesnar. The way she's physical. The way at times she can be a little bit stiff, but she'll accept it right back for a receipt if need be. She's just real life tough. I've seen Baszler like that. And the way that they're booked is just like, not only do they not know what to do with them, but it's almost like they're punished because they're so good. And what happens is even the casual fan doesn't even have a reason to believe or get interested in Xia Li because WWE has given them zero reason from her debut on the main roster. There is zero reason to think Xia Li is any good. And it's bullshit because if you followed Xia Li, even before NXT days, you know she is fucking amazing. She just has to get the fucking chance. It's amazing to see her not even get the chance, and now Teagan Nox beats her in 3 minutes. It was basically a fucking jobber match. Basically, she got some offense, so it wasn't a jobber match. Well, that's bullshit. I mean, I've seen Brooklyn Brawler get a lot of offense. I can't believe Xia Li's booking before, and now I'm even more dumbfounded coming out of last night's SmackDown. I didn't think that was possible. I don't know what to say, man. I hope somebody in that company wakes up and knows the talent that they have in Xia. Because this, criminally ashamed by what I saw last night. Hour number 1 ends with Adam Pearce announcing that starting next week there'll be a tag team tournament to decide the number 1 contenders for the Usos SmackDown titles. Starting with the Banger Bros. They're called the Banger Bros. I'm not even going to touch that, bro. But I'm not going to go there. Yeah. I didn't hear him call them that, though. I didn't hear too much. I didn't even hear Michael Cole. Nobody called them the bet. Maybe they got fucking laughed out of the industry, that name last week, that they stopped calling themselves that, maybe. But the Banger Bros are going to take on the Vikings next week in this tag team tournament. Now, there's a lot to unpack here. Number 1, this is just more lazy booking, right? Forget banger after banger after banger. Forget that shit. This is tournament after tourney after tourney after tourney. How many tournaments can you guys fucking handle before it just gets fucking redundant? I cannot stand tournaments in pro wrestling because it's lazy booking at its peak. It's literally the laziest shit you can imagine, man. It fills up weeks of TV time. You don't have to use an ounce of fucking energy. In 5 minutes, you can just write out a fucking tournament because it's all scripted. It's all predetermined anyway. And at the fucking end, you just put a name or 2 names if it's a tag team. It takes the fucking writing staff 5 fucking minutes. And for the next several weeks, you just filled up TV time. And we see it time after time, right? BC wouldn't mind tournaments. Like back in the day, WrestleMania 4, Macho Man Randy Savage captures the World Championship during a tournament at WrestleMania. It's one of the best shits ever. But the problem today is you see a tournament almost every month. Maybe it's not even almost. Between AEW and WWE, it's every month, it seems. But there's a tournament to lead to a champion. There's a tournament to lead to a number 1 contender. There's a tournament to lead to the best in the world title, right? Just to give yourself a fun moniker. There's a World Cup tournament. You hold up a World Cup. Just saw that a few months ago. It's just a tournament just to fucking fill TV time and just to be lazy. Because you don't want to do it the right way and create an actual feud. You just saw it on Monday Night Raw. For the Raw tag team titles held by the Usos, they had to do a tag team turmoil match to come up with their number 1 contenders for the Raw titles. A gimmick match to fill an hour of TV time because they're too fucking lazy and didn't want to compete with college football. Now you have another gimmick match for the SmackDown tag titles. And this is a gimmick tournament. Here we go again. It's absolutely pathetic. I can't stand tournaments. Again, if they were done once in a while, cool. Every single time we need to decide something, they throw us a tournament. It's laziness. It's fucking pathetic. And, number 2, we're splitting the titles. Don't you want to talk about it, Michael Cole? Does anybody want to discuss that over on Raw, Judgment Day is going for, supposedly, nobody even knew because they didn't make it clearly distinctive, they're going for the Raw titles. A lot of people came out on Monday night thinking it was going to be both sets of titles, the unified titles. No. Now on SmackDown, we hear that this tournament is going to be for the SmackDown titles. So clearly what they're telling us is they're splitting the tag titles. And even if you say, well, basically, actually they did mention it once or a couple of times, BC, you got to listen. Well, the fact that I watched Monday Night Raw for 3 hours Monday, the fact that I watched this for 2 full hours, and the fact that I may have missed them say it, that tells you everything you need to know. They're not making it distinctive enough. They're not being transparent enough. If you're just going to slip it in here, they're literally They're literally just acting as if we all know that both titles are now separate. Both sets of titles. I'm okay with it, by the way. But fuck, man. Don't act like this was the case the whole time. This company is so batshit backwards right now. And it's not like, it's either they can't get back on track because they don't know how, or they do know how, but they just don't give a fuck. And they're just focused on this sale, and just like, the show is secondary. Because the attention of detail right now is being magnified by BC Amplified. It's not being magnified by anybody in the company. And it's pathetic when a podcaster has to magnify details, call out details that don't make sense, that are illogical in the highest and most amplified of forms. And the company refuses to do so, or even worse, or equally worse, they just don't care about the details. So it's either they don't know about the details, or they don't give a fuck. Or it's both. I guess that's tragically the worst case. So, we have two different fucking gimmick matches / gimmick tournaments for two separate tag team title matches. And nobody wants to everybody wants to act like this was always the case. Both titles were always separated. No. No. Since the Usos have had them, we were under the impression it's unified. Again, I'm okay if you want to split them up, but have transparency. Talk about it. Say why this is happening. Make it a big deal so that everybody knows what's going on. Hour number 2, my boy Bray Wyatt. Let me get a sip of coffee. And we're going to talk about my man, the Eater of Worlds. Salud. So Bray Wyatt starts hour 2, man. Long entrance, crowd on their feet, everybody with their phones. When the music fucking stops, well, first of all, Michael Cole recaps a bunch of shit for 2 minutes. But then there's just a rocking chair in the ring. The old Wyatt family, man. That rocking chair is in the middle. The spotlight's on it. The crowd, a nice pop for Bray Wyatt. And Bray gets in the ring. He sits in that rocker. And Bray Wyatt says, "Green Bay, we're here." Old school Wyatt family, bro. Damn, goosebumps for BC because it's Green Bay. And to hear those words from Bray again, we're here. He says, "Ain't it wild, man? Ain't it wild when sometimes we forget who we are? We forget what it is that made us in the first place. But all it takes is a little push to send you in the right direction. And all of a sudden, you understand all you have to do all along is revel in what you are. And all of a sudden, it all comes back to me. I remember all the things I've lost. I remember that I'm the color red in a world of black and white. That I am the Eater of Worlds. I am Uncle Howdy. I am him. I am the nagging conscience of a world that has thrown itself away to moral monsters. Ultimately, I am everything. I am Bray Wyatt." He says, "I know who I am, but who are you?" to LA Knight. He says, "At the Royal Rumble, it will be my true rebirth, a baptism in the dark. And as for you, LA Knight, when the lights go out, you should run." I loved it, bro. I had to tap into a little bit of Bray Wyatt there, man. You gotta do that in Bray. That was great, man. Just that whole thing. All of a sudden, it all comes back to me. I remember all the things I've lost. I remember that I'm the color red in a world of full black and white. I am the Eater of Worlds. I am Uncle Howdy. I am him. I am the nagging conscience of a world that has thrown itself away to moral monsters. I am everything. I am Bray Wyatt. As for you, LA Knight, when the lights go out, you should run. Lights go out. End of segment. The promo was just a couple of minutes, and that was it. And there's so much in that cup. That's what I mean. I mean, we've seen it over the years. You could have a 15, 20-minute segment, and it leads to nothing. It makes us go, that was it? Or what the fuck was all that for, right? It seems like redundant. We do that every week on Monday Night Raw for sure. It could be 15, 20 minutes, and you're like, what the fuck was that? You could see a 20-minute match, it was all for nothing. A 15-minute promo segment, nothing. 2 fucking minutes, and you're on the edge of your fucking seat, like, oh shit. Like, you have to think when Bray Wyatt is in that ring, because nothing he does is by accident or coincidence. Everything he does is map the fuck out. And every single time, you know, for people that this isn't for them, they don't like this, they want instant gratification, they want everything to be told, they want more, right? Give me 20 minutes. Well, that's a good thing, by the way. If they're claiming they hate it because they want more, guess what? It's working. They want more Bray Wyatt. You know, these are the fucking people that just want Uncle Howdy to be revealed quickly. You know, is it Bo Dallas or not? We should have found out 2 weeks ago. It's going too slow. Every single fucking time he's in there, he's dropping pieces of the story. He's dropping little fucking nuggets. You got to open your mind. Think about it. For instance, on Monday night, that was the first time we saw Alexa face-to-face in any capacity with Uncle Howdy. Now we know they know one another in some fucking sort now. Alexa, meet Howdy. Howdy, Alexa. That's going to catapult big time going forward. That's a huge part of the story. Last night, you see the rocking chair. He says, I am the eater of the worlds. I am him, meaning the fucking Fiend. QR code leading to Bray going into the Fiend. That whole thing from last night. He's telling you that at the Royal Rumble pitch black, don't be surprised if you see it all. He is trying to drop these pieces of fucking nuggets. This information, this storyline evolved in just a couple of minutes. And 2 fucking minutes, you got more of a story than you would have gotten 25 minutes with anything else in pro wrestling. Again, if it's just not for you and you honors don't like it, BC, that's fine. Different strokes, different folks, your prerogative, right? It's in the eye of the beholder. We all like things that others might not, and we don't like things that others might love. But if you're going to fucking try to go onto your little phones with 140 characters and try to tell people that it sucks, not you think it sucks or you just don't like it, but that it just sucks because you said so, you're actually wrong factually. Like metrics, statistics, numbers tell you that Bray Wyatt is captivating more than anybody else in WWE. So it actually is working tenfold. It's working really well. And Bray has always pulled in the best numbers. So it actually doesn't suck. It's just you're not getting the information you want quick enough. You want instant gratification. Maybe it's just not for you, and somehow you told yourself that this 2 minutes ruined SmackDown, right? Because they're talking out of both ends, right? Oh, SmackDown sucks. The Bray shit is so horrible. Well, that was fucking 2 minutes, first of all. So if SmackDown sucks because of a 2-minute segment with an individual, maybe that's not Bray. This is just somebody that just doesn't like Bray Wyatt, right? Maybe doesn't like Alexa Bliss. So they're going to spew out bullshit, almost like Levesque does at a fucking company meeting, right? It's bullshit. You're talking out of both ends. It's just a 2-minute segment. If you don't like it, then you should be happy it's only 2 fucking minutes. How is that Bray's problem that SmackDown? Stop it. The truth is that in just 2 minutes, it's the best fucking storyline in all of pro wrestling. The only thing that would rival, I can fucking speak. Let me get another fucking swig. Coffee, it'll help out any cause. Coffee will correct any fucking problem. Inject the caffeine. Bray Wyatt is the best storyline going on right now in pro wrestling, man. The only thing to rival it is the Bloodline and Sami Zayn. AEW, unfortunately, it should be Bryan Danielson and MJF. Unfortunately, that's just not there, man. You're just doing another fucking regurgitated. You have to get through all my obstacles every week, and then you can get my championship match and an Iron Man match. That's all it really is. So it's Bray Wyatt or bust right now. And the Sami Zayn and Rowan thing, I guess, is the closest thing. But as far as a true story, you may not be getting a lot every show, but you're getting enough information to open your fucking horizons. You're going to get those nights where a lot is going to be answered. A lot's going to happen, like at the Royal Rumble, I'm guessing. And you'll be fulfilled. Or if you just don't like anything, period, you're not going to be fulfilled, and you're just going to cry about it in 140 characters, letters, whatever the fuck. You're going to complain about it, right? Oh my God, Royal Rumble sucked because of Bray Wyatt. Sorry, what? The guy who's pulling in the best fucking numbers ruins all the shows for his 2-minute segment? Stop it. Truth is, secretly, you fucking love him, you want more of him, and you're so upset that you're not getting more Bray Wyatt. That's the fucking truth. I loved everything that I saw last night. Sometimes shorter is sweeter, man. He gives LA Knight just some immaculate advice. Run! Segment goes to black. Short, yet so sweet. This is what Bray does best. He leaves you wanting more. He leaves you with questions. Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda, is just fucking amazing. This will forever be a Bray Wyatt channel. If that upsets you so much, you just obviously he just doesn't do it for me, man. He just doesn't do it for me. I don't know what to tell you. It's the wrong channel. Because we praise a fucking genius like Wyndham Rotunda on this fucking channel. If you're just looking for the flips and the dives and you want everything fucking solved in a day or a week or 2 weeks or a month, this ain't it, bro. We preach long-term storytelling on this channel, and Bray Wyatt is the only motherfucker tapping in to long-term storytelling. If you don't know what that means, Bray's not your dude. If you act like you know what long-term storytelling is, and you say you want long-term storytelling, but you don't like what Bray's doing, well, now you're just cherry-picking. You're a fucking bag of douche. Can you step aside? Appreciate it. To Bray Wyatt, salud. Liv Morgan versus Raquel Rodriguez. Raquel hits her Tahana Bomb and pins Morgan. I wish I could tell you there was more to this, but there just wasn't. I guess they're setting up Raquel Rodriguez possibly to be the one to take the title from Charlie Flair at WrestleMania. Freddie Prinze, who was a guy I actually respect in the business. I respect Freddie Prinze Jr. He doesn't talk out of his ass most times like a lot of people do, like the Bully Rays in the community and so many others. Freddie Prinze, who was a former writer for WWE, former big actor in the 90s as well, starting up his own promotion, we think. He was just seen on AEW Dynamite taking some insults from MJF, Maxwell Jacob Freeman. He recently said that he doesn't understand the total backlash for Charlie Flair getting the championship, because this will just, it had to come off of Ronda, and this will set up something big for, like, Raquel to take it from Charlie. And you know that the cheers are going to turn to boos, so you don't have to worry about two faces facing each other. Raquel will be the face, Charlie will be the heel, right? That's what Freddie Prinze said, and he's right about that. But not understanding the backlash, that I don't understand about Freddie Prinze's words, because the backlash is there for two main reasons, right? Number one is that the fact that we're even in this position, where in 7 months that Charlie was gone, they could not come up with one fucking individual to push them correctly. They could not create a fucking superstar to get the championship off of Ronda. The fact that you had to once again fall back on Charlie Flair, that's the problem, Freddie Prinze. That's one of the biggest issues. It's not even about Ashley Flair or Charlotte Flair. It's the fact that WWE just fails to create stars. Not because there's not enough of them there that could be. It's the fact that they hinder them. When the rocket is about to take off, they fucking smother that shit and make sure that the rocket is defunct. It's a dud. And they have to now wait till Charlotte comes back. It's almost like an agenda at that point. And that's why we call it the Charlotte agenda, because it's like we were just waiting for that the whole time, the whole 7 months. It's almost like they didn't want anybody to become bigger than the company, for the females as well, because they knew Charlie was going to come back and they knew the route they wanted to go. They knew the route that Vince wanted to go. So that's the problem, Freddie Prinze, number one. Number two, there's still not a major connection with the majority of the audience with Charlie Flair. It's great to come back in like Alabama or wherever she showed up, and then she's in Alabama maybe whatever. Some of these towns that they buy the ticket and they can't wait just to cheer, right? And Charlie's been gone for 7 months, so you know she's going to get a pop at first. Right? That's not a connection with the majority. Wait till she goes to the fucking cities. Wait till she goes to New York and LA and Miami and even some of the smaller towns after about a month. Freddie Prinze said it himself in the same paragraph. He said, give it a month. The cheers are going to turn to boos for Charlotte. We all know that because that's what history told us, and it repeats itself 10 fucking times. All right? We all know that the cheers are because Charlie said it her first. Charlotte said it first. She said the reason that people boo her a lot is because she did not give us a chance to miss her. Charlotte is delusional because she thought if she goes away for a while, when she comes back, then she's going to unanimously be cheered going forward. No. You're going to get cheered at first because they haven't seen you in a while. Oh, shit. Okay, they're just going to cheer for anybody that comes back after a while. Like Freddie Prinze said, give it a few weeks, right? It's going to fall off. They were probably scared to put her in front of the live crowd last night. That's why they had her in a backstage segment with Sonya, which we'll go over in a minute. Right? They didn't parade her out there. And that's Green Bay. I still think she would have gotten a decent fucking cheer reaction. The weeks are going to take off, and then we're going to start to see the same shit, redundancy. That's why Charlotte would turn a face and a heel 9 different fucking times, because the company doesn't know what to do with her, because there's not the big connection with the majority of the audience. That's the problem, Freddie Prinze. That's why we said, shit, all of Ronda's title reign was just to give it back to Charlotte? And people go, well, it had to be taken off Ronda, and at least Charlotte can now create a superstar when she drops it. But that's not what happens, Freddie Prinze. What happens is, when she does lose it, a star is not created because it was mishandled, and it was all about Charlotte even when she dropped it. And a month or two later, Charlotte's just getting it back anyway. So no, the majority of the fans are not going to just get behind this decision. It was a booking botch to have her show up after 7 months, in 60 seconds, roll up one of what should have been booked as the baddest female on the planet, which is her old moniker, and roll her up in 60 seconds and become a new champion. It was a booking botch. That's why we say that, Freddie Prinze. So if Raquel is the one to take it from her, because in Freddie Prinze's words, and BC said it, within a month's time, she'll be being booed again. She'll easily be heel again by WrestleMania, because that's what happens. Because the majority of the crowd is not going to connect. She does not connect with the majority of us. She's got every wrestler has their fans, but with the majority of us, it doesn't connect. I say this all the time. I'm a Jinder Mahal fan. I know he does not connect with everybody, so I don't fucking just promote Jinder Mahal left and right. People don't want to hear that bullshit. Same thing with Charlie. There's fans of Charlie, and then there's the rest of us that don't give a fuck, man. We're done with the redundancy. Think of something new. Get creative. There has to start to be a connection, or we're not going to care about her. Just heel, face, 9 different times. Coming back just to win fucking championships. Losing it for 2 or 3 months. Coming back to win a championship. It's not a connection, man. So, my point is, Raquel, defeats Liv Morgan like nothing. She's going to be a dominant female going into the Rumble. Are they really going to have Raquel win the Rumble? Are we going to get a Raquel-Charlotte match? Is that really going to intrigue you guys to the fucking edge of your seat? It ain't for BC, bro. I'm telling you that right now, dude. Raquel versus Charlie match is not the best that we can do. At all. Backstage, Sonya Deville and Charlotte Flair, as I aforementioned, they're in an all-out blitz brawl just to get a rematch between the two that we just saw last week. Think about that, bro. Why are we wasting an insane all-out brawl for Deville and Charlie Flair? Who cares? We just saw it last week. Deville's not getting the fucking title. You gotta save that shit so it feels special for actual feuds, those type of brawls. You know, those feuds that need TLC, man. That's where you do those all-out blitz brawls. That's what I mean. They're pulling out all the stops so that we get behind Charlie Flair, and it just doesn't work. You have to literally go back to the drawing board and redo the whole blueprint. But wasting an all-out blitz brawl backstage on a Sonya Deville Charlie SmackDown rematch, because that's what it's going to be, or are they going to put that at the Royal Rumble? Guys, we're botching big time on Charlie already. We continue with the Cody Rhodes return and redemption packages. I gotta admit, this one got BC, man, ready for the American Nightmare to return. I've been seeing a couple of these. We've been seeing a few of these over SmackDown last week, Monday Night Raw. It's kind of like, yeah, who gives a shit? Just bring back Cody, please. This video package, man, damn. I was kind of like, that was the first one that got me. I was like, dude, I can't wait for Cody, dude. I was already awaiting his return, but now I'm like getting more excited about it. So last night's video package was really well done. Truly looking forward to Cody. I don't see how he does not win the Rumble. This has to be Cody. I know a lot of you guys think Sami, maybe that's the way to take on Roman. I don't think that's the case. Montreal, I believe, is where they're going in February for a pay-per-view premium live. I call them pay-per-views. right before WrestleMania. That's the hometown of Sami Zayn. Maybe Kevin Owens as well, actually. But hometown of Sami Zayn. I think that's where you could do something massive with him and Roman. I don't think Sami has to win a Royal Rumble. I think that's definitely Cody's redemption tour, man. And it starts at the Rumble. We continue with the main event, Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. This was a good match, 18 minutes in length, but a lot of it was missed during 2 commercial breaks. Sami is about to hit the haluva kick for the victory, but the Bloodline hits the ring to attack Owens, and Zayn is DQ'd. Now, you know nothing happens without the go-ahead, the green light from the Tribal Chief. So it's almost like the Tribal Chief did not want Sami winning the match and got him DQ'd. The Bloodline hits the ring without Roman. It was the Usos and Solo Sikoa, and they beat the shit out of Kevin Owens. And Sami Zayn, who had the match in his hands, loses the match via DQ thanks to Roman Reigns' green light call on the Kevin Owens attack. Solo hits a nasty splash to Owens on the outside. Owens was on the commentary table. Solo runs, jumps off the barricade, and splashes through Owens. Everybody holds up the "We're the Ones." Solo's got his Solo spike held up, and Sami's kind of conflicted. Like, yeah, we did it. But he's kind of like looking at Owens like, fuck. You know, I was going to do this the right way, and I didn't necessarily need to see you fucked up like this. So Sami was kind of conflicted, and we go off the air. Bruh, Sami needs to abort the mission. Sami needs to abort the mission now, because what I saw from Paul Heyman in his facial expression when Sami walked off in that segment, and Paul Heyman was like, oh, you're going to get it, motherfucker. What I saw from the Usos after they attacked it, and Sami was like, what are you doing? I had this. I had it for the Tribal Chief. And the Usos are like, don't worry, you did your job, man. You did it. Yeah, Sami won. The way they were doing it was like, they know they're going to beat the fuck out of this dude any fucking moment now. They're just waiting for the green light from Roman. I mean, you see this now more than ever after last night. Sami Zayn needs to abort the fucking mission now. And that is fucking beautiful storytelling. Personally, I have it right under Bray. Some of you guys might flip-flop it. But, man, is that such a good fucking storyline, man. I'm so into that, and that's going to be one emotional roller coaster when Sami gets his fucking ass handed to him and is turned on by the Bloodline. Some of you guys think Sami will get smart and turn on them first. It's one of those things I hope they don't botch the booking, because it's being told beautifully right now. Keep this thing fucking rocking. We went off the air with that shit. So, top of the second hour with the Bray Wyatt short but sweet segment in the promo saying that all of Bray Wyatt is back because it never left him. He's all of them. That was huge for what's going to happen at the Rumble. So, a big Bray Wyatt development in that storyline, short but sweet segment. And the end of hour 2, the end of the show, with the Sami Zayn Bloodline storyline taking on another level in shape and form. Hour 2 really was the bulk of the storytelling. Hour 1, again, we saw the top of the show. You got fucking Gunther and Strowman, which was a good match. The Xia Li shit is just weird to me that she just lost so easily to Teagan Nox. Adam Pearce oddly calling for a tag team tournament and splitting the titles up without making a big deal out of it was weird. Karrion Kross and Rey Mysterio declaring that they're in the Royal Rumble. Weird. When other people have to qualify. So hour 1 was a little just awkward. Nothing really of development. I had a lot more questions and not in the right way. Hour number 2, that's when our story started to pick up a little bit better. And that is SmackDown, Friday the 13th, 2023. That's it, guys. What a week of content. This has been one hell of a week, man. We put out so many videos, so many live streams, and you guys were there through it all. I mean, sometimes I was putting up 2, maybe even 3 a day, and you guys were right the fuck there, whether it was just a regular podcast video format upload or whether it was a live stream. You guys were there, man. Whether you were throwing fucking those ups for BC and showing the love and support, putting up a what's up in the fucking comments, putting a fucking super chats, throwing a coffee over to BC, throwing down a super thanks down below and tipping the channel. You guys, any which way to show that support for the channel and for BC, you guys were just on fire this week. And that's just made me more motivated to keep putting out more content and really just getting just as amplified as you guys were, if not more. And together it's just one of those weeks, you know. I've been creating content for over 5 years on this channel. And this is just one of those just magical weeks where, you know, you can look back 40 years from now and go like, yeah, I remember that week. It was a few weeks before the Rumble of 2023, and it was just the Vince McMahon storyline was all over the place. The Sasha Banks story took on a life of its own. You know, all the push to the Rumble and the uncertainty in pro wrestling in general. It was just like, I remember that fucking week. We were on fire. And this video right now ends the week, but I will never fucking forget it, man. What a week. And next week, we'll do it again. We'll start it all again with Monday Night Raw, man. And if anything huge takes shape, BC will try to... I'll hit the channel with some breaking news if need be. But for now, next week is when we'll do it all again. So I thank you guys so much to all my Red Team, go! Thank you so much, man, for the week, the month, the year, the 5 fucking years plus we've been creating content. What am I saying? Just always being there. And for the Gold Team, the next fucking level, showing that support. You guys got to stand the fuck up and get your flowers right the fuck now. Get that respect. Because you guys get your shout out right now. Top guy, I'm out. We'll do it again next week. BC saying check you. Gold Team, go! Salute!